and it's the duty really of the moderators of the debate to fact-check the lines and the falsehoods.
I don't think viewers like to see fact-checking live. I think they see that as somebody putting their thumb on the scale. And I think most people can tell whether or not somebody's telling the truth. I mean, look, we all know that Trump tells a lot of lies. He told more than 30,000 when he was president. And so I don't think people really expect the truth from him. It's as Kevin said, does he touch on issues that people care about, whether I happen to believe that they're the right issues or not? And if he does that well enough, then he'll win. Most of the time, though, I think people look at the candidate's demeanor, they compare the two. They don't really care so much about issues as well as, do I feel comfortable with this person? And I think on Trump's side, in Trump's case, people are not as comfortable with him as they were before. Harris has to make them feel more comfortable with her, and that sets up the contrast.
All right, Neha, Kevin, and Ray, do stay with us. We'll come back to you in just a few minutes. But first, let's take a look at Trump promising what some see as revenge politics. Now, Trump has pledged long-term prison sentences for those involved in what he described as unscrupulous behavior concerning the upcoming election. In essence, implying without evidence, though, that the election might be stolen from him. This marks the first indication that Trump may not accept the results if he loses in November. His remarks have drawn widespread condemnation, with many warning that such messaging could incite violence again.
Former US President Donald Trump continues to make controversial statements in the run-up to the all-important presidential debate. In the latest, he has threatened prosecution and long-term prison sentences for election officials and political operatives who he suggested could cheat in the 2024 election if he again wins the presidency in November. Falsely claiming Democrats engaged in fraudulent behavior in 2020, Trump said that he was watching the sanctity of the 2024 presidential election very closely and that those people that cheated will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is the latest escalation in Trump's language concerning the alleged election fraud. Early voting is set to begin in the coming weeks in some states. Trump has repeated many times his false claims that widespread fraud had affected the outcome of the 2020 election. Trump has also repeatedly called for action against people who he believes have wronged him. In the wake of his indictment by the U.S. Justice Department in 2023, Trump had vowed to have a real special prosecutor who would go after the president, Joe Biden, and his family if he won the presidency. Despite Trump's repeated claims there is no evidence of voter fraud, Trump had lost to Joe Biden by more than 7 million votes in the last election. On the other hand, Trump faces his own charges over election interference. Vishal Vivek reports for NDTV World, Bureau Report.
Well, let's get some quick reactions on this. Our guest still with us. Kevin, it's very likely that Harris is going to bring up those latest comments from Trump on the debate stage. How much of a problem is it for Trump to really stay on message, because his advisors want him to stick to policy and not really meander on things that might potentially cost him the election?
And the biggest challenge for Donald Trump when it comes to persuading audiences of undecided voters. Look, the Donald Trump profile that most voters find incredibly toxic is the one that is very focused on divisiveness, is focused on blaming one party against the other, and is always focused on relitigating the past. And any reference to the 2020 election, how he's been wronged by his political opponents, it takes the focus off of the main thing that has made Donald Trump successful, which is that he's viewed by many voters as a vehicle for confronting the status quo in Washington that may be out of touch with the concerns of everyday Americans. So the only time he's actually really been successful is when he's able to harness that message when it comes to immigration, the economy, taxes, national security, you name it. That's where he's always found his greatest success. And the interesting thing is, more often than not, he gets in the way of his own success by focusing on the past and focusing on issues that aren't at the core of what a lot of swing voters or pragmatic independent voters care about. And this election comes down to those voters.
Indeed. Neha, some might say that the comments that we just heard from Trump in that story that played out, that Trump is just being Trump, he's playing to his MAGA base. Do you agree with that? Because in a podcast a few days ago, Trump admitted that he lost the 2020 election by a whisker. So is this something that really worries you, or should we just shrug it off?
I mean, absolutely, right? I mean, he's playing to his base, but to what extent? There's continuous lies, and folks who are not in the political realm or are not, deep versed in policy. I mean, this is what they're gonna just accept. So it is very concerning, and you can't just say, well, this is his personality, and let's just do that. I mean, this is a person who's dealing with foreign dignitaries on a regular basis, and is, being, you have cabinet secretaries and so on and so forth. I mean, it's not excusable. The demeanor is absolutely not excusable.
Right. Some more reaction, but let's just take a look at the polls that came out over the weekend. We just wanted to take a look at what those election polls are saying. Things remain really neck and neck. The latest New York Times Siena poll found that Trump is leading Kamala Harris nationally by 48 to 47%, basically a coin toss. Now, the poll confirms that Trump maintains solid support from roughly half of the country's voters, but Harris has yet to achieve a significant breakthrough. The poll also shows Harris is slightly ahead in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and tied in 4 other key swing states: Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona. Ray, Harris saw a bump in the polls after the initial, let's say, euphoria once Biden stepped aside, but not much movement since, really. So Trump's support remaining robust, very resilient, a problem, do you think, for Harris at this point in time?
It's stubborn and it's never going to change. I mean, look.
Okay, I think we lost Ray there again. I'll put that question to Neha. Neha, do you think that this is a problem right now? So Harris, of course, one could say, depends, glass half empty, glass half full. So she's been resilient, staying put in terms of the poll numbers, but yet not being able to move ahead.
No, so the polls are within the margin of error. So it's hard to say, well, 48, 47 overall, or what it is that's indicative right now. We have 8 weeks to go. I think she's still speaking to voters and speaking about her policies in ways that they might be different from the Biden administration, what she would do during her term. So that's still taking place. So I wouldn't just write it off and say, all right, well, this is what it's going to be 8 weeks from now. She's still having those conversations in these battleground states. And I think that's what's going to make a difference.
All right, Kevin, you're with Penta Group, a company that provides data-driven insights. Penta has been tracking candidate visibility in swing states in terms of media exposure. Now, you found that Harris's media coverage generally spiked over the past 30 days, give or take, and yet, despite all of that and the Democratic convention, Harris has not been able to make much gains in terms of the polls. So the race pretty much neck and neck. So all of this happening, but the publicity not really helping Harris, do you think?
Well, look, I think, first of all, that the Harris campaign over those first 60 days of her entrance into the race after Joe Biden had dropped out were among the best 60 days a candidate's ever had in presidential politics. Just enormous visibility in swing states and also related to sentiment, just very positive media coverage. But one of the tactical mistakes that the Harris campaign has made has been that they sort of took a tack that this was a vibes-only election, and that that good sentiment had a longer sort of staying power. What we found out is that there's one guarantee that was always going to be certain in this campaign was that it was going to be close. That's happened. We're now back to a neck-and-neck race, and the euphoria of Joe Biden dropping out and a new candidate not named Biden or Trump entering the race, that's gone. And what we have is a real contest. The challenge that Harris has is she still is an empty vessel or a blank slate to a lot of voters. And so she's avoided the media. Right. She's avoided sort of opportunities to more directly sort of fill in the blanks. And now Trump has an opportunity to fill in those blanks for her in one debate in 90 minutes. So that's going to be one of the big challenges. And that's really what I expect to be why you're going to see a very aggressive Donald Trump in this debate and over the next 8 weeks all the way to Election Day.
Okay, Ray, I'm going to give you the last word very quickly. In 2016, polls showed that Clinton easily won all the 3 debates against Donald Trump, but yet, at the end, she lost the elections. How much would you say that these debates really matter?
Well, I don't think they're determinative. I think they help. I hope they give people a better idea of what Harris is all about. As Kevin said, a lot of it's on her to make people feel comfortable with her. And I don't think they're expecting Trump to do great in this to fill in some of the blanks that exist with her record there.
Thanks very much, Ray. Thanks, Kevin, as well, for soldiering through despite all the technical hiccups. Really appreciate it. Kevin, Neha, and Ray, thanks for your time here on NDTV. And now, moving on, Republicans and Democrats have released dueling documents regarding the fatal U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. Republicans accuse President Biden of insisting on
whoever you are and whatever might happen, Remitly money transfers keep life moving. Because it's more than a transaction. It's a connection, a hug, or a hello, what's happening here? Send money to South Asia with Remitly. Send money that moves them. Download the Remitly app.
Remember this? Can't believe we didn't always wear sun cream.
I know, right? We were too busy having fun.
Number 7's Future Renew Serum, clinically proven to reverse visible signs of sun damage with a world-first peptide technology. 3 for 2 on Number 7 Future Renew, available at Boots.
Supermarket shoppers of Britain, we're your guardians of the groceries, champions of choice, putting the super back in supermarkets. Super affordable, super quality. That's why we're Supermarket of the Year. Make an epic saving of over £37 on this big shop compared to Tesco's. Now that's big on quality and always little on price.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money or work worries.
Am I going to lose my job?
Getting on with life.
Can I still go abroad? Get insurance?
Or just need someone to listen.
How do I tell them?
Our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, work, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
What does a robot know about love? It takes a human to translate that leap in our hearts into something we can see and hold. Essie.
Ever imagine how you'll feel the first time you see a lion in the wild? Or if Japan really is worth the long flight? Ever pondered how ancient civilizations built that? Or how you'll ever describe moments like this? Ever wondered how it feels to explore the world knowing every detail has been expertly taken care of? Want to know more on our worldwide tours? Choose Signature for smaller groups and enhanced experiences. Book today with Riviera Travel and stay forever curious.
Do you need to borrow money for home improvements, a car, or paying off debts? Then you've come to the right place. Every day